Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Finally ready to film my weight loss video, my final weight loss video. I filmed one of these back at the kind of midway point of my weight loss and shared all the things I was doing to lose 20 pounds. Honestly, that video is still great. I would recommend going and looking at that one, especially if you're someone who really likes the science behind things or you specifically have PCOS. I get into the details there, but I wanted to film an updated version because I'm officially done losing weight. I want to tell you about any changes I guess I made along the way. Spoiler, not very many, but yeah, this is just going to be the place where I answer everybody's questions about diet, about exercise, and honestly about body image, because I don't think I talked very much about body image in that first video. Now that the weight is like officially gone, I feel like I can talk to you pretty candidly about that. I'm very excited to do this. I'm going to be answering this as your friend. I'm going to be answering your questions. It's not going to be quite as like scientific. It's really just going to be very chatty, very casual. Feel free to skip around. It's going to be a long one. And before we get into it, I obviously want to give the disclaimer that if you have a history of disordered eating, I don't think this is probably the right video for you. I will not be using any skinny talk bullshit language, so you can rest assured that I am on your side and I love you and I love your body and I'm not going to talk to you meanly. However, I did eat in a calorie deficit. I do really love exercise. I'm going to talk about those things. I'm going to talk about calorie counting and weighing food and things like that. So if that's just not something that resonates with you or works for you, please, please, please do not watch this video. Without further ado, let's get into it because I know this is going to be a long one. First, let's kind of get into the backstory. First question I got asked was, why did I decide to lose weight if I am not plus size? And I honestly wondered at a couple of points in my journey if I was going to be asked that question and in that way, because I think it's kind of a legitimate one until you actually like get down into it. First off, I just want to say that if you want to lose weight, I think that's fine. I don't think you have to be plus size to want to lose weight. And I also think that if you're plus size, that doesn't mean that you need to lose or should want to lose weight. Let me tell you why I personally wanted to lose weight, even though I was not plus size. For reference, I was about a size 10, 12 at my heaviest, and I'm about a size 2 right now. Let me give you an analogy that I thought up in the car recently that kind of like, I think sums it up. Then I can get, I guess, more into the nitty gritty. So I was given this sweater growing up from my parents, and it was the perfect sweater. It fit me so beautifully. It went with literally everything. Like you could pick the sweater up, you could put it on, it would go with pants, it would go with a skirt, it could go over it, just like the perfect sweater. It was comfortable and it was just one of those pieces of clothing that you don't have to think about when you put on, and it was awesome. But over time I lost that sweater and I needed to replace it with something, so I replaced it and my new sweater was awesome. It served the same purpose for the most part. It just was not as effortless, I guess you could say. Picked it up and I put it on, and sometimes it would go with things, sometimes it wouldn't. Sometimes I loved this sweater and then other times I fucking hated this sweater. An experience that I didn't really have with like the old sweater. The worst part about this new sweater is it had a fucking tag in the back, and I think y'all know how irritating itchy sweaters can be, but that tag was so annoying because sometimes, again, it would be really, really irritating and then sometimes I wouldn't feel it at all. And it got to a point where I started thinking, what happened to that old sweater? I lost that sweater. Like, what happened to her? And I kind of was faced with, what do I do with the current sweater I'm in? Do I try to find the old sweater? Like, what are my options here? And I had 3 options, right? My 3 options were, number 1, live how I just currently am with a sweater with itchy tag, having it just be irritating and just call it what it is. It just is what it is. Or I could rip the tag out of the sweater, live with that sweater, and enjoy it even more. Or third option, which is the one that I ultimately went with, rip the tag off, love the sweater that I'm in, at the same time find that old sweater. I found the old sweater and I put the old sweater on, and if it's just the same, I don't think about it, and it's really cool. Hopefully you kind of get where I'm coming from. Old sweater obviously was the body that I've had basically my whole life. New sweater was the one that I had in like my late mid-20s. Neither sweater is bad. Neither sweater is bad. No option is bad. Well, I think keeping the itchy tag in the sweater and kind of hating yourself and hating the body you're in is just never a good option, but I don't think you need to lose weight to be happy. I just needed to do it for myself because I didn't feel like me. I wasn't treating myself very well. And also, additionally, this doesn't really fit well into the analogy, but I have PCOS. I was diagnosed with PCOS a couple of years ago, and making lifestyle interventions on their own were not enough to help my PCOS. I had irregular cycles. I had issues getting pregnant that were not really related to my PCOS, but that's kind of how I figured it out. And yeah, irregular cycles, insulin resistance, high blood pressure, hypoglycemic episodes. I just felt like shit all the time, frankly, which is not a surprise because I was not treating myself very kindly. But I decided, you know what, I'm gonna make a change because I don't feel comfortable in my own skin. I'm facing negative health outcomes at the size that I'm at, and I need to make a change. And I think that this is also a good point to say that you don't have to be in a certain body size to want to lose weight, obviously, and that by looking at someone you cannot tell their health, right? A size 10, 12, like I don't think many people were looking at me and thinking that I had health problems, but I had health problems at the size that I was at, and there are plenty of people who are in bigger bodies than me that have absolutely no health problems. So I don't think that weight loss is the answer for everybody. I don't think everybody needs to be in a cookie cutter shape. I patently think that's false. I want to put that out there, but I needed to lose weight for my health. I'll share here that a lot of the health problems I was facing have been remedied because of my weight weight loss. I have a regular cycle now. I no longer have insulin resistance, and I actually have low blood pressure now, not high blood pressure. So that's pretty fucking cool. Not to spoil the body image part of this, but I also don't spend pretty much every waking moment of my life thinking about my body anymore. I am trying to grow muscles, so I do think about my body in that way, but I don't look at the mirror multiple times a day thinking, oh God, I really need to lose weight. Oh God, I hate myself. I don't think that anymore. So it was the right choice for me. It's not necessarily gonna be the right choice for you. This is a question that no one asked, but I want to throw in here because I got the vibe from multiple people that they needed to hear this. And that is, when is not a good time to lose weight? First of all, again, I don't think everybody needs to lose weight. Second of all, I think that this is a mentally and physically taxing journey. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's not the easiest thing to do. If it was, I think, you know, everybody would just snap their fingers and lose weight. It's not an easy thing to do. It does not have to take over your entire life. It does not have to be something that like makes you miserable at all. In fact, this was one of the happiest times of my life, frankly. I think that there are many times when we probably shouldn't be taking on weight loss journeys. When we are really mentally struggling, when we're freshly postpartum, when we are really fucking busy and just don't have the like if you're a single parent, you're in a season of your life where you just do not have a spare second, it's probably not the time to undergo a journey like this. And I'm not here to judge you if like you decide to take something like this on, but I just want you to know that it is okay to like not take this on at this particular moment. Like you can do this at any time in your life, right? I think that you kind of do yourself a disservice when you pick something like this up and you can't fully commit to it, because I think that psychologically teaches yourself that weight loss can't be achieved or that you can't do it, and that's just simply not true. I would say try to wait till the right time, and I think you will know when it is the right time for you. Next question, how much weight have you lost? My initial goal was to lose around 40 to 45 pounds, and that is about how much weight I have lost. My goal weight was not a goal number, it was a weight range. I wanted to be between 120 pounds and 130 pounds. I am in between those two numbers and I feel really happy about it. I think that picking one particular number can be a little harmful psychologically because water weight exists and, you know, so many other things like that exist. So I just picked a weight range, but yes, I've lost about 45-ish pounds. At my heaviest, I was 168.8, probably more than that, honestly, but that just happened to be the day that I weighed in for the first time. So someone asked what my catalyst was to make me start and what made you think I need to do this. I had a miscarriage. Also, if you don't want to hear about that, skip ahead. I won't be talking about this again, but I had a miscarriage this time last year and it broke me, honestly, psychologically. I think at the time I didn't fully understand why I felt this like need to take on weight loss, but it just felt like the answer to me. And now, I guess in hindsight, I feel like I can really see why I needed to do this and why I felt like it was the right time. But basically my whole life, thin, privileged, economically, I'm white, like I didn't have challenges in my life growing up. I felt like I was completely in control of my life and that everybody else should be in control of their life too. It's like, you know, just work hard and you can achieve your goals. Fucking stupid. Okay. My 20s hit and I went through some really hard shit, frankly. Definitely not as hard as a lot of people go through, but I went through some hard things that sort of broke me and taught me that I am not in control of my life and that bad things can happen no matter how hard you work, and that sucks. And these are lessons that some people learn at a much younger age than I did, but I learned in my 20s, okay? I think that my miscarriage was sort of the turning point in which I recognized I am not in control of everything, but I am in control of some things. And I might be deeply unhappy and I might never be able to have a kid, but I can love my life and I can love my body and I can treat myself well, because how the fuck am I going to be a parent if I can't treat myself well? And someone asked if there was a turning point that made me stick to my weight loss journey, and no. I decided to do this and I did it. I, of course, had struggles along the way. I went through a couple of diet breaks. I went through a really challenging time in fall winter, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but there's no turning point. I just decided to do it and I stuck with it. And I owe a lot of that to the, again, time period of my life that I was in, the things that had led me to this point. I was able to stick with it and be consistent because it was the right time for me. There's never a perfect time, but there is wrong times. And I really want to make that very, very evident. So I think it's also kind of my personality too. Like I really, really, really hate committing to things that I can't follow through on, and I wanted to make that commitment to myself. So yeah, there was no real turning point for me, but let's get into it, shall we? Like the nitty-gritty of the video. Let's get into how I got started. Okay, in the spirit of being friends, I got more comfortable for the diet section of this video. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of how I did this and how you could potentially do this if you want to lose weight. So first question is, how did you get started? That's such a big question, I feel like. I knew kind of what it was going to take to lose some weight, but honestly, it's like pretty hard to approach that head on. You're like, okay, I know I need to get into a calorie deficit. I know that I need to move my body more, but like, what does that actually look like? So for me, I knew that moving my body at first was just going to be walking. So we'll get into the exercise in a different portion of this video, but I started walking in the mornings for about 2.5 miles or around an hour to get some steps in to just kind of increase my overall TDEE. At the same time, I started to calculate my TDEE, start tracking my calories, and just kind of figure out what I needed to eat to feel good and to fuel my body for for this weight loss journey. So first things first is calculating your TDEE. You're going to want to get onto a TDEE calculator and figure out how many calories that you require in your current body that you can eat less calories to lose weight. So I typed in my height, I typed in my weight, I typed in my age, and it spit out a number to me. Now for this example, we're just going to say that my starting TDEE was 2,500 calories, okay? To lose a pound a week, you want to eat 500 calories less than your TDEE. So I would be eating about 2,000 calories a day, and I should hopefully lose about a pound a week. Obviously, it sounds a little simpler on paper than I think it is in actuality, but that is essentially what you have to do to lose weight. And you don't have to eat in as big of a deficit as that. You could eat in a 200 calorie deficit. You wouldn't be losing a pound a week, but you would still be losing weight. So you get to kind of pick what deficit you want to be in. I would not recommend attempting to lose more than a pound a week because you're going to be miserable, not going to get in all of the nutrients that you need, and you're not going to be able to adequately fuel your workouts or any sort of movement you're doing throughout your day. But to get a little bit more granular about TDEE and what the hell that means, it is your total daily energy expenditure. So everybody has a certain amount of calories that they need to operate within their daily life. At the very base level, we have our basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of calories that we need to basically sit in bed all day, to not move our bodies, to not fidget, to not really do much except for exist, right? We never want to eat less than our BMR, but our TDEE is all of the calories that we use in a day, our non-exercise activity, so walking around, fidgeting, that sort of thing, our exercise activity, that sort of thing as well. Everybody's TDEE is going to look a little different, but calculators online, decently accurate, because most of your BMR and your TDEE is calculated, just exists based on your height and your weight. Like that really is the main thing. You're going to see some people try to say things like, oh, I have PCOS, so I can't eat any calories, otherwise I gain weight. There are going to be slight differences in everybody's basal metabolic rate and their TDEE. You're going to have to figure that out over time and make adjustments kind of based on if you're gaining or losing weight eating at certain calorie amounts. But I think doing a TDEE calculator is probably your best bet to start. So the first thing that I did was I typed in my height, my weight. Let's say it spit out 2,500 calories to me. That was sedentary, right? Sedentary means that you're like not doing much movement beyond just like a little bit of walking daily. I knew that I was going to, and I did start by walking as well. I was kind of uncertain at the beginning. Am I actually sedentary if I'm going on these daily walks, or am I lightly active, or am I moderately active? I think that's something that really trips people up when trying to decide how many calories to eat. And I mean, it really plagued me for the first couple of months because, you know, I saw my weight fluctuate a lot and I'm like, am I eating in a deficit? Am I doing this right? One thing that I think really, really helps, and I actually would really recommend for a bunch of different reasons, is an Apple Watch. Now, no health tracker is going to be 100% accurate, okay? You can't rely on the amount of calories this tells you that you burn as gospel, but I do think it's a really nice way to figure out what your activity level is within, you know, like 100 or 200 calories or so. So I started going on my daily walks and I kind of started tracking my food in a calorie tracker app without really thinking too much about like how much I needed to be eating yet. I just kind of started tracking my food by like weighing my food and just like putting it into my app. So I was pretty accurate with the amount of calories I was consuming. And then I started going on my walks and I looked at my Apple Watch, and the fitness app can tell you your TDEE at the end of the day. And after about a couple of weeks of doing it, my watch was telling me, based on this, that I was kind of somewhere between sedentary and lightly active just going on my walks. And so I was like, okay, so I should probably be eating more than sedentary calories, but I probably shouldn't be eating the lightly active calories. Like that might not, I might not be able to achieve a deficit if I eat 500 calories less than that number in specific. So I think that is a really nice like sanity check, your Apple Watch, to do that. You don't have to have an Apple Watch, but I do think it's really helpful. So started walking, I started tracking my food, and then I really feel like I got a good number for my TDEE and how much I should be eating to get into that like 500 calorie deficit. And I plugged that number into my calorie tracking app and I started weighing my food and tracking my food from there. And that is kind of like how I got started. Now, someone asked like, what specifically did I do for a diet? Like what did I try to focus on when I was, you know, picking what foods to eat? Now, in my research for PCOS and weight loss in general, I kept seeing eat high protein and eat high fiber, because fiber and protein can help make you feel very satiated. Protein can help you to maintain lean muscle mass while losing weight, because when we lose weight, we want to lose body fat and not muscle. So I really figured that I need to eat high protein and I need to eat high fiber. Now, what that's going to look like for you is probably different than what it's going to look like for me. But I kept seeing this recommendation from a lot of people, like just aim for grams of protein based on what body weight you're trying to achieve. So at 168, which was again like my start weight, I was aiming to eat 125 grams of protein because that was my goal weight. You don't need to eat your current weight's amount of protein. If you've done like a DEXA scan and you know your lean mass, like you could also aim to eat your lean mass in grams of protein. So if your lean mass is, 100 pounds, then you could, eat 100 grams of protein. But aiming for eating, I would say at least 100 grams of protein a day is a really good goal because again, you want to like maintain your lean mass while you are losing weight. So for me, eating high protein, eating high fiber was really the name of the game. And for me, when I started focusing on both of those things, I almost immediately noticed how satiating that was going to be for me and that this weight loss thing might actually be achievable. The cool thing about being in a calorie deficit and not restricting like the kinds of foods that you're eating, like I didn't cut out carbs, I didn't cut out sugar, I didn't cut out any of that. The cool thing is that you get to eat whatever you want. The bad thing is that if you're eating a lot of like just carbs and you're not eating things that are going to actually satiate your body and get you kind of like a more even glucose response, you might feel really fucking hungry in your calorie deficit journey. So once I really started tracking my macros along with, tracking my calories, ensuring again I was just getting enough protein and enough fiber, felt really, really good. And I remember like the first couple of weeks of my deficit too, it was like actually hard to eat enough food. I wanted to make sure, okay, like let's say my maintenance was 2,500, a deficit was going to be 2,000 calories. Sometimes it was hard for me to eat 2,000 calories eating enough protein and fiber because I was so full and like I felt so good. So yeah, that's what I specifically, I guess, did for dieting. I get more granular in my other video and I could go deeper here, but I just feel like it's going to be repetitive. But I tried to eat high fiber, high protein. I weighed my food with a food scale. I tracked my calories in a calorie tracking app and I weighed myself daily. So that's another question that someone asked is like, how did you stay on track and how did you make sure you were actually losing weight with your calorie deficit? And for me, weighing myself daily actually really, really helped me. It took a lot of power away from the scale, strangely, because I could see that like with the exercise I was doing, if I lifted weights one day, next day the scale went up, I was like, oh, okay, I'm retaining water because, my muscles are trying to repair themselves, rather than taking like one weigh-in a week where it could be just like the one day where I'm heavier than any of the other days. You're not able to see the downward trend quite as well if you don't weigh daily. So that helped me stay on track, was weighing myself. And then again, tracking my food, like that is what helped me stay on track. I also think like mindset matters. And I kind of tried to touch on that at the beginning of this video, but for me, I did not embark on this journey to punish myself or to hate my life. I took this as an opportunity to like have fun. I had genuinely such a good time on this journey. Yeah, of course there were moments where I was hungry, or there were moments where I was like, God, I like don't want to work out. I don't want to do any of this. But I really enjoyed like finding new foods to try, trying to like gamify this. I know for some people tracking can be really hard and like toxic. For me, it was like genuinely a game. I was like, okay, what am I going to eat next to get like 30 grams of protein in this meal? Okay, let me like try to, think of a cool new combination of things that I can try. To me, it was fun. Like it was genuinely a fun time. So it wasn't something that I felt like I was falling off the wagon constantly and having to like force myself to do things. Like I was having so much fun with it. So I weighed my food, I tracked my food. I really, oh God, what's her name on TikTok? She-Bulk? Whenever she talks about her meals, she weighs things on her food scale. She says that she pretends like she's doing a science experiment. That's the kind of mindset and the kind of fun you can be having on this journey. It doesn't have to be miserable. You don't have to like stay on track. I had fun with it. Like that's what kind of motivated me was tracking things personally. Like that is what works for me. It's not going to work for everybody, but I liked it personally. Next question was, how did I meal plan? Did I plan my macros out in advance and then look for recipes? I didn't get super into the details about macros. I mean, I did just say like I eat high protein, high fiber. I still do to this day. But for me, I didn't do a ton of meal planning. I think a lot of y'all probably know I don't enjoy cooking. My husband does the cooking in our family. I had like kind of a database of foods I knew that I enjoyed and meals that I knew I enjoyed in a spreadsheet to where I could pre-plan things if I wanted to. Like, okay, I'm gonna eat this breakfast every day for this week. I'm gonna put that in my spreadsheet and see, okay, I'm gonna need a little bit more protein lunch because the breakfasts I'm having this week are not gonna have like enough protein for me. So I would try to find, a lunch or like a meal prep that would like satisfy those requirements. I didn't do this every single week. Sometimes I would just like make shit up as I went along. My breakfasts were pretty consistently protein shake and my breakfast bowl, which is black beans, seasoned potatoes, and scrambled eggs. I would have that almost every day. Every once in a while I would switch it up, but that was like my go-to. Then for lunches, I would do meal preps. Like I would buy from a local place called Snap Kitchen, or now I'm doing Factor, which is also really great. I love being able to eat food that tastes good and I don't have to prepare and that has the macros already calculated for me. That also really helps. And then for dinners, I would in fact look at the macros when finding recipes as well. Some of these like low calorie blogs, I knew that pretty much all of those recipes that I was selecting were around like 500-ish calories, about 30 grams of protein. So again, I just made sure that my lunches and my breakfast kind of went along with that. Also, I had dessert every day and I still have dessert every day. It's a yogurt bowl, like cut up strawberries and a fiber one brownie to get my fiber in. I kind of meal planned. I kind of didn't. I didn't get super granular with it. And really, I mean, even with the macro counting, I tried to hit my protein goal every day, which for me, I think it was like 125 grams. Sometimes I'd go over, sometimes I'd be under. wasn't a huge deal if I was under. When it came to like the carbs and the fats part, I didn't give a fuck. I just ate and those eventually like filled up, you know what I mean? And if I ate more fat than carbs one day, like it's fine. It doesn't need to be that crazy and that you know, specific. It is something that I think we'll figure out over time. You know, something that I didn't really mention is a lot of this is trial and error and figuring out what makes you feel good. Maybe eating high protein makes you feel like shit. I'd be surprised, to be honest, because it is so satiating, but for some people, eating just slightly lower protein can help. Again, you want to get a certain threshold, but you don't need to like protein max if that's not something that makes you feel good. And then some people find that fats are like really what they love. Like they fucking love condiments and sauces. So maybe you want to eat more fat every day. Me, I'm a carb girl, and I think a lot of you PCOS baddies are also carb girls. So saving some room so that I can have some potatoes every fucking day, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Not eat low carb. I do not believe in cutting shit out. Next question, how did I stay motivated? So someone asked, you know, how I stayed on track, but motivation's a little different. Put this in here because it's so corny, but it like worked really well for me and maybe it'll work for you. But tended like I was the kind of girl who did these things. From the beginning, when I got the idea to lose weight after my miscarriage, I was like, I think I'm gonna do this. And then I just kind of immediately started talking to myself. I talk to myself, I know. I'm talking to myself right now, frankly, but like in the car, I would talk about, yeah, I think, you know, I'm gonna go to Pilates a couple of days this week. And of course I'm gonna do my morning walks every day. I'm the kind of girl who works out every day. I'm just the kind of girl who eats healthy. I'm the kind of girl who hits her protein goal every single day. It sounds so corny, but talking to yourself like you've already done the thing, or like you are the kind of person who does this thing is so helpful and so affirming. So like I film YouTube videos and I would imagine what it would be like. Oh my God, I don't want to get emotional. To film this, I would talk to myself as if I'd already done it. Like, yeah, it was like really hard, but like I've done this. It's so helpful and it's corny, but like it is affirming. I think it really is helpful. So to stay motivated, I talk to myself as if I already did this or that I was a consistent person. The psychology of weight loss is challenging, obviously, and to talk to yourself as if you've already done this thing or as if you are the kind of person who does this thing is one of the most motivating things ever. Additionally, unrelated to that, the further I got into this journey, the more interested I got in surrounding myself with information. So like I really love the science behind weight loss. I really love the science behind longevity. And so I started reading this book called Outlive by Peter Attia pretty early on in my journey. And I knew that working out and I knew that eating healthy was good for you. And I'm sure all of you probably know that as well. I didn't know how important it was until I read Outlive. That book is really incredible, and I'm pretty picky about my nonfiction, but really great book that talks about the importance of strength training as we age, the importance of training for cardiovascular health, what we can just be doing, what interventions we can do when we're young to ensure that we live a really long time, and not only live a long time, have quality of life into the future. And that really was eye-opening to me, and it took my journey beyond just, oh, I want to look hot and I want to feel good in my body to, oh fuck, like if I do these things, I'm gonna have a really good life going forward. And here's the thing, not like I touched on at the beginning of the video, not everything in your life is in your control. I can't control whether I get a disability, I can't control whether bad things happen to me, but I can control some things. I can lift really, really heavy so I don't break my hip when I'm 60, things like that. I can lift really heavy, and if I do break my hip when I'm 60, I will recover so much better than someone who doesn't lift weights at all. So for me, the motivation was, this is just things I need to do to live my life and to have the life I kind of want to have going into the future. I talked to myself like I was the kind of person who did it, and that helped a lot. Also, I'm not gonna lie, having like an accountability buddy is so helpful as well. My sister went through a very similar journey to me, able to like see that it was possible and to talk to someone daily who knew what I was going through and to commiserate. It's so helpful. And I hope that this video is maybe that for you, and I hope that you're able to find someone to talk to as well. Those are the things that I have done, I guess, to stay motivated or have helped me along the way. Did I cut out snacking, stop eating takeout? Did I ever step out of my calorie deficit, that kind of thing? So snacking is not something that I personally struggle with. I don't like having to think about my food, if that makes sense. That doesn't mean that I don't struggle with food noise or that I don't love to eat, because I fucking love to eat. I mean, obviously, gained 50 pounds, like I like to eat, but I'm not a big snacker. I don't really like throughout the day grazing. I would rather look forward to like my meal. So I don't have a ton of good tips for snacking. One thing I will say that has helped me is like having meals planned in advance does kind of prevent me from wanting to snack. Snacking, I will say, is something that like I think I'm dealing with more after my calorie deficit. There will be days where I don't have a lunch planned, and so I'm like, just eat like a fuckload of snacks instead. But I will say, like, again, planning macros in advance can help you prevent snacking. But if you know that you like snacking, you don't necessarily have to cut it out. Just add it into your macros, right? Just make sure that you have room in your schedule for some snacks. Maybe have smaller meals, like a smaller lunch and a smaller dinner, so you can have the snacks that you love. I think this whole thing is all about you, and it's all about figuring out what works for you. It's like, it's a journey into your psyche. It's a journey into your own mind. What kinds of exercise do you like? Do you like running? Are you really into weightlifting? Like, like, this is about you and it's such a personalized thing. And yes, there are some things that I think are universal truths, which is that strength training is important and that eating enough food is important and that eating enough protein is important. Like, there's some things that I think are universal truths, but in that there's a lot of flexibility. If you like snacking, snack. Did I stop eating takeout? Fuck to the no. And I still eat takeout. And by takeout, I mean fast food at least twice a week now. And when I was kind of in my weight loss phase, I would just use hacks basically at fast food restaurants. Smaller Sam on TikTok does really amazing fast food hacks where she'll come up with really cool combos that you can do like high protein, low calorie at your favorite fast food restaurant. That was really helpful for me along the way. I still got to enjoy the foods that I loved, but just like lower calorie versions. Did I ever step out of my deficit? Of course. Of course I did. I think that when you're first starting out, maybe deficit doesn't really, like, you don't fully understand like what it means and the full scope of it, but it's about averages basically. To lose a pound of fat, right? You have to eat basically 3,500 fewer calories in a week than you should eat to maintain your body weight, right? So if one day you eat 700 calories less instead of 500, the next day, you know, you can eat 200 calories more. It all is about averages, right? So did I ever step out of my deficit? Absolutely. And even within my deficit, because I was exercising and because nothing is like 100% accurate, I knew that I had like a little bit of wiggle room with my deficit. Like, there were definitely days, like multiple days a week for most of my deficit journey, that I would go like 50 to 100 calories over the amount that I was supposed to eat. So like, let's say my app is set to, you need to eat 1,700 calories today, which will keep you in your 500 calorie a day deficit. Some days I would eat 1,800 calories, not a big deal. I'm still gonna lose weight, maybe not that clean, round 1 pound, but like I'm still gonna lose weight. And then there were days where I just completely didn't track anything. I didn't do that as often. It's much more common for me, again, to like eat 100 calories more here or there. But there were definitely time periods where I took little diet breaks, or for like a weekend or two, I would just kind of eat intuitively. I would just like eat what I want. I would not binge. I would not go crazy, but I would just enjoy my life and not track anything. And I think that actually kind of helped. Sometimes I would do that, and I'm not saying this is going to happen to you, but sometimes I would eat in a deficit for like a month, and then I'd be like, okay, I need a break. And for a weekend, I would just have some fun. And then like the next day, my weight would go down. I don't know what the fuck the science is there, but like that occasionally would happen. Yes, I did step out of my calorie deficit. I was never, 100% accurate with my tracking. Like, I never stayed, right at that number that my app told me to be at, but it all averaged out, and I was able to like steadily maintain my weight loss, and the weight went down over time. So I would say though, if you're feeling like you need cheat meals or you need like full days to like binge, one, I would rethink your strategy, and two, I would try to rethink your mindset as well, because obviously, calorie tracking and stuff is not for everybody, but specifically, your calories might be too low. You might be in too big of a deficit for yourself. That could, give you these intense cravings and intense hunger pains. You should also check in with, again, your macros. If you are ravenous all the time, but you're pretty sure you're eating the right amount of calories, are you eating enough protein? Are you eating enough fiber to keep you satiated, to not get these crazy blood sugar spikes? Yeah, it takes trial and error for sure. Definitely should step out of your calorie deficit from time to time, but if you're feeling like you need to binge often, you're probably restricting too heavily, and I think that's something that you really need to be cautious of. Someone asked, how do I do this if I'm a vegetarian or a vegan? Eating in a calorie deficit is pretty easy, like no matter what your dietary preference is. I think you might be referring to the protein aspect, like how do I get enough protein as a vegan or vegetarian? Honestly, I don't have a lot of experience with it. However, it's definitely not impossible to eat high protein. You might not be able to get to like the upper limits of, high protein for your, size, but you can, I think, easily hit 100 grams of protein as a vegetarian. Beans, lentils, tofu, tempeh, those sorts of sources of plant-based protein like will get you to your goals. Dense bean salads are another really, really great thing. I am not vegetarian or vegan. I actually really fucking like meat. I did have some plant-based meals or some vegetarian meals along the way, and I was able to hit my protein goals. So you can definitely do it. And there are amazing accounts online who will help you kind of get to your goals. It said, how can you eat in a calorie deficit without getting wrapped up in calories? So again, I think it comes down to mindset. Again, I think it comes down to what I set out to do with this and how I approached it. I'm not saying that, oh, you just have to get in the right mindset to like not be disordered. I think that shit just happens sometimes, and you can't predict it or can't prevent it all of the time. But for me, I went into this trying to have as much fun as possible, which I think, again, really, really, really helped. And I also really enjoy data, and I really enjoy not spinning my wheels. Like I think I've said, it is possible to get in a calorie deficit without tracking your calories. It is possible to lose weight without tracking calories. Really enjoys the science behind things. I really like tracking. I really like data. And I just knew that that was not a huge risk for me personally. I felt like I was getting restrictive. I would, back off and just not track for a little while if I felt like, the walls were closing in a little bit with calorie tracking. But honestly, because I was having fun along the way, and I treated it more as like, okay, we're doing a fun little science experiment, or I gamified, the calorie tracking. I don't feel like I got too wrapped up in calories, but your experience might differ. And I think if you're asking this kind of question, maybe calorie tracking is not for you. I know there are accounts dedicated to intuitive eating, portion control, and things like that, other ways of getting into a deficit without actually tracking the calories. But for me, it's been really helpful. It's been really eye-opening. I also think it's not something you have to do forever as well. I think that you can very much track and weigh food and get an understanding of portion size, then just stop doing that and lose weight very successfully. So yeah, I didn't feel like I got too wrapped up in calories. Someone asked if my husband did this along with me. So yes and no. My husband actually lost about 20 pounds over the course of my weight loss journey. And I think it just goes to show how much your partner can influence you. Hayden did not make concerted efforts to lose weight or to eat less. He did not calorie track, but because of the meals I was asking him to prepare us for dinner, because I was eating fast food less often, he also ended up losing weight. So it's really nice having someone in my corner and on my side. He didn't necessarily do the same things that I did. For him, tracking his calories is too much of a, problem. And everybody, yeah, it's so interesting, having gone through this, how different everyone is when it comes to their relationship with food and eating. I have always been the eater in our relationship. Like, I think it might be the PCOS and insulin resistance that just makes me fucking ravenous all the time, but I'm probably always going to, I don't want to say struggle with overeating. I think I've mostly overcome that, but yeah, like if I just let myself eat as much as I want, like I would put on weight. Hayden, he just thinks of food completely differently. His behaviors around food are completely different than mine. He needs to be like told to eat. He has ADHD, which I think is probably part of it, but yeah, he didn't have to do anything like really drastic or dramatic or calorie count. Not that calorie counting is dramatic or drastic, but he didn't really do anything special to lose weight, but he was very much in my corner and on my side, and he knew what I needed as well. He wouldn't say, hey, do you want to go get a 4-pack of crumble cookies? Like he understood what I needed, and I didn't use him as an accountability partner. I didn't tell him like, oh, tell me I can't have cookies if I ask for cookies. Like, it wasn't like that, but he wasn't trying to lose weight. He did lose weight. It was just on my side. He was totally cool eating the like shittier low calorie version of Alfredo when I put it on our recipes list. So shout out to him. I think like having someone who's also on your side is really, really, really nice. Next question, favorite meal or snack during your journey? I gotta shout out my yogurt bowl again, y'all. This is something that was the thing that kept me going when I needed it, right? I knew that I had that sweet treat to look forward to at the end of the day. It is one of the Oikos 000 yogurts, the vanilla flavor, like 15 grams of protein, I think like 90-ish calories. I can't remember exactly. It's literally programmed into my app. This particular dessert I'm gonna tell you, it's programmed into my app as a meal, and I don't have to like input the macros every day. That's another pro tip. Like, you can input meals into almost all of these calorie tracker apps and like save those meals. And if you have it frequently, like you just click a little plus button. Like, you're not having to like input everything every day. Slow me down at all. About a half cup of chopped up strawberries and a fiber one brownie, which is I think like 70 calories, has fiber in it, and it's just really tasty on top of yogurt. I don't know that I'd have like that dry ass brownie on its own, but like on yogurt, it's decadent. It is genuinely decadent. It like fills you up like no dessert has ever done for me before. It was like the perfect thing to eat before going to bed because I didn't wake up ravenously hungry in the mornings. Now, I wake up hungry in the mornings just generally. That is like how I wake up. But I did notice, over the course of this journey and learning myself and learning how I react to food, that I ate like a really carb heavy, sugar heavy thing. I went to sleep. If I woke up in the morning, I was like so hungry, I was nauseous feeling. Whereas if I ate something protein heavy, after dinner, for my like bedtime snack, I would wake up hungry, but like not ravenous, right? So just like figuring those things out, I think was really cool along the way. Again, it's like learning more about yourself. It can be a fun thing. It doesn't have to be a shitty thing. And I found that really cool. I was figuring out how different foods affected me. The biggest one, if I'm gonna be honest here, and this is not something anybody asked, was Starbucks. Oh my God. I would get a tall non-fat chai and a cheese Danish almost every morning, a couple of years. The way that I would have a hypoglycemic episode pretty much every time I had that, and I was like, oh, this makes me feel shitty, but like it's easier than preparing something. Like I'm gonna continue to do it. Like, blows my mind that I was okay feeling like shit for that long. The amount of sugar in that, and I love sugar, I love carb. The amount of sugar in that meal made me feel awful, and I would get a big blood sugar spike, and then I would crash. I would feel faint, I would feel weak, I would sweat until I like ate something again. And if you have PCOS, you might understand what I'm talking about, those like hypoglycemic episodes or blood sugar episodes with the insulin resistance. But really trying to have a balanced, like well-rounded meal that had protein. If I was gonna have carbs, something with some fiber attached to those carbs and some healthy fats, like it makes you feel full and satiated, and when you're hungry again, you're not gonna feel like you're gonna pass out. That was just a brain moment for me. I don't know why, but like I just didn't know that before. And now I do. I know that doesn't make us feel good. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. That's not the good good option for us. Yeah, I don't restrict myself. I mean, I had a chai latte the other day, but I usually get that with like an actual breakfast sandwich, you know, with some like high protein in there to make me feel a little bit better. So, and then the last question in the kind of diet category is what to eat and what to avoid for belly/hip fat loss with PCOS. So, cannot spot reduce fat. If you're going to lose weight, it's going to come off of your entire body, and you don't really get to choose what parts of your body lose weight first or lose that body fat first. What you eat is also not largely going to affect that. I think that focusing again on protein is going to make it to where you're able to maintain your muscle as you lose weight, because when you lose weight, you do lose muscle. Just FYI, you're going to lose some body fat, you're going to lose some water, you're going to lose some muscle. You're eating enough protein and also doing a little resistance training, so like lifting weights as you're losing weight, probably going to hold onto your muscle better, and what you're losing is hopefully going to be body fat, right? So eating high protein is going to be great. If you have PCOS, eating high protein and eating high fiber is going to make you feel satiated and going to help that insulin resistance and metabolic portion of your PCOS. You can't spot reduce fat, unfortunately, and I don't think that like eating a specific way is going to get you these miraculous results. A lot of how you lose weight is going to be based on your genetics as well. I will say that I did notice at my heaviest weight, I did carry more weight around my midsection than I ever have before. You know, I was in a smaller body for most of my life. I did have some weight fluctuations, and I tended to gain weight in my legs mostly. As I started getting larger and as my PCOS was really flaring up, I did feel like I was gaining more weight in my midsection, and that did seem to be the first thing to come off for me, which I'm really happy about, but I can't guarantee that's going to happen for you. Like, it's such an individual thing. So I wouldn't say like try to, you know, follow some crazy diet on the internet that's like, you know, you can spot reduce your belly fat with PCOS. It's not gonna happen. That's not how that works. Let's talk about exercise, shall we? The more fun portion of things. Diet was harder for me, admittedly, than the exercise. I love to exercise. So first question, what exercise did you do to lose weight? I love to address this misconception, which is that exercise is a key to losing weight, and it is absolutely not. You do not need to exercise to lose weight. Now, do you need exercise for your longevity? Yes. Is it amazing for your health? Yes. Can it help you to get into a calorie deficit? Also, yes. But I think that people assume that exercise has a lot more of an effect on their caloric burn than it actually does. So do a little bit of a scenario, shall we? I run for 2 miles and my Apple Watch says I burned 400 calories, okay? Which is awesome, right? My TDE calculator says when I'm sedentary that I burn 2,000 calories. So I can add that 400 and that 2,000 together, boom, 2,400 calories, which also means that I can eat more. Unfortunately not. There's no additive model when it comes to caloric burn, and it's really hard to accurately gauge the amount of calories you're burning from exercise. So Apple Watch is definitely inaccurate when it comes to exercise. It does do some really cool like algorithmic things to kind of smooth that out a little bit, but it's never going to be 100% accurate. And also go and run 2 miles and you truly do burn 400 calories, or you burn 400 calories from that. Your body will compensate by throughout the day moving around less, by fidgeting less, by conserving energy. Your body wants to conserve energy. So it's really hard to accurately, again, track calories from movement, very challenging to accurately guess any of these things or to really know how much it's helping you. So I did not exercise to lose weight. I exercised because I genuinely enjoy exercise and I know that it's good for my body. I know that sounds like a cop-out answer, but I knew it was something that if I was going to undergo this like journey, I needed to do. And I did know that it would probably give me a little bit more wiggle room with my calorie deficit, but here's a good example for you. I was walking when I fully got into kind of my routine. I was walking 2.5 miles every day and also doing an additional form of exercise on top of that. So Pilates or bar or yoga or weightlifting. And if I weightlifted, I also did cardio along with that weightlifting. So like I was really, really active, or at least it seems like I was really active based on my Apple Watch, based on my rate of weight loss, etc. According to a TDEE calculator, with all of that activity, I was between lightly and moderately active. That's like nothing. That's like eating maybe an additional 200 calories a day over sedentary, right? Like that's not much. So I would not recommend exercise as a form to lose weight. I also think that looking at it that way can really, again, lead to disordered behavior and look at exercise as punishment, which it's not. You don't need to hop on a treadmill and like burn as many calories as possible. It's silly. It's actually, I know it might sound crazy. It's a lot easier to just eat a little bit less food than it is to attempt to burn more calories from exercise. I would not recommend it. That being said, I love exercise and I would love to tell you about what I did. I do think it helped me to maintain my deficit. I did not rely on exercise for my deficit. So what exercise did I do? At the beginning, I walked 2.5 miles every day, either on my walking pad and watching TV, especially because we were getting like our bathroom renoed kind of around the time I started doing my deficit. I would walk on my walking pad upstairs while they were like hammering down here. Do that again for about an hour, which is about 2.5 miles for me. Or I would go outside and kind of walk a trail, which had like some nice inclines and like got my heart rate up at certain times. I walked. and I did that for about a month before hopping into weightlifting side of things. And it was actually probably good that that's the only thing that I did, because I actually got to see my weight steadily decline, and I knew that I was in the right deficit for me. So that was really helpful. Now, things got complicated whenever I decided to start weightlifting, because I saw a stall in scale progress for about 6 weeks. That number did not fucking change. I think it was like 165 point something. Actually, it might have been low. 163.5. That was the number. Oh my God. Every time I stepped on the scale every morning, it would say that. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Am I in the wrong calorie deficit? Like, do I need to change my calorie? Calm down, first of all. Second of all, your body retains water when you start working out, when you start lifting weights specifically. Your body is not used to moving weights around. Soreness that you feel, your muscles are taking the water from your body, putting it into those muscles, and keeping it there because it's trying to repair those muscles. So not seeing scale movement is really, really normal. And I'm probably gonna say this again in this video because I think it's really important to note. If you start weightlifting and being in deficit at the same time, chances are the scale is not going to move. And that's also where you see a lot of people say, calorie deficit didn't work for me. It's like, it probably did. It probably did work for you. You either weren't eating at a deficit, or it was working for you, but you were also lifting weights, and so the scale wasn't moving quite yet. It'll sometimes take the scale some time to move. But yeah, for the first month, I just walked. Honestly, it might have been 2 months. I can't remember exactly. From there, I decided that I was going to start incorporating other forms of movement. So I would either do Pilates, yoga, or weightlifting. And my split and my routine really changed just based on my whims. I think I probably would have seen more progress in the gym, specifically with weightlifting, had I been more consistent with what my schedule was. But I aimed to move my body 7 days a week. I didn't want to take rest days. Rest days don't work for me. So I moved my body every day by going on my walks. And then I think when I first started, I would do my walks in the morning, and then at like 4, I would do other forms of exercise. I usually weightlifted like 3 or 4 times a week. And then the other days would be filled with like, again, classes. I love classes. I think they're really fun and a great way to get moving and to hold yourself accountable, because if you don't go, you have to pay for the class outside of your, regular membership. Weightlifting, I've just always really enjoyed. And I think that the importance of muscle just cannot be overstated. I can talk more about that in a little bit when I talk about what I'm doing like in maintenance, because my routine's looking different now, but that's kind of what I did like basically the entire time I was losing weight, was going on my walks and doing another form of exercise. And I don't want to say that's it, because that's a lot of movement, but that's kind of what I did. Next question is how to lose weight without losing tone or curves. I don't know how to answer this. I kind of do. Tone is a word that I don't like, because tone is very vague and it means different things to different people. How did I not lose muscle mass while losing weight? Was by lifting heavy weights. That is the single best thing you can do for your body, generally across the board, but also really, really important if you're losing weight, to be doing resistance training of some kind. Something that I personally experienced was, liked how my body looked when I was done losing weight, but I was not looking as toned and as muscular as I wanted. I also got a DEXA scan, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but did not have like the muscle tone that I necessarily like desired once I had been done losing weight, because your body really cannot effectively gain a ton of muscle as you're losing weight. It's really hard to do. What you look like at the end of this, I don't want to say it's anyone's guess, but kind of like no matter what you do, like you can't predict what you're going to look like. You can't predict where you're going to lose weight, how you're going to maintain your muscle. Best thing you can do, again, is lift those heavy weights, but that does not guarantee anything. I want to be very honest about that and very realistic about that. Like, I love my body. I'm so happy with my body, but at this point in my journey, now that I have lost the weight, I'm trying to eat at maintenance, honestly, maybe even a little bit of a caloric surplus, so I can put on that lean mass that I want to like have that muscular like curve and tone to my body. I think someone maybe asked this question similarly and also complimented me, which is very, very sweet. Also, part of it's genetics. I hate saying that, but like a lot of this is largely genetic. A lot of my outcome and a lot of the things that I've experienced are largely genetic. So you cannot compare my experience to yours. It's going to be different. I think you know that, but like to restate that for sure. Someone said, did you increase your step count? Sedentary lifestyle increases weight mostly. It drives me crazy when people try to get militant or holier than thou about step count, because the average American lifestyle is just not conducive to walking a ton. I can currently tell you my routine. My current routine is that I do some sort of class every morning, so Pilates or bar, and I weightlift 6 days out of the week, right? So that's a lot of fucking exercise. Oh, and cardio in addition to the weightlifting. Every day I do 20 to 30 minutes of cardio on the Stairmaster. So, I wouldn't say that I'm like sedentary necessarily, but I also am not getting 7,000 plus steps in naturally if I don't make a concerted effort. Like, even with all that exercise, I'm not getting 7,000 steps in. I have to like make a conscious effort to get those steps in. I think that it's a very awesome goal to get more steps in. I think steps are a really great way to increase your exercise without making you more hungry. I love steps, but let's not act like steps are an easy thing for everybody to get. And that is why I'm never going to tell you this is the exercise that you need to do and the only way to lose weight. This is the thing that you need to do for your health that is better than everything else. Like, gotta find what works for you. I think steps are awesome, and if you can increase your steps, cool. But I think acting like steps are the only thing that can get you the body of your dreams or that can, you know, help you be more active. I really push back on that. Obviously, if you live in a walkable city, it's different, but like a lot of us don't. And a lot of us work from home, and increasing step count's great. It's not a panacea. And I think acting like it is crazy. Okay, I'm gonna stop bitching about that. I did increase my step count. It wasn't 10,000 steps a day. It was 7,500 and it did help, but it's not the thing that like helped me lose weight. It was eating less that helped me lose weight. Getting over gym anxiety when lifting. I wish I also had better advice here. I have been lifting on and off since I was 16 years old. Both of my parents lift weights. Shout out to them for teaching me how to lift weights and for teaching me, being an example of how amazing weightlifting is for longevity. Both of my parents are in incredible shape and it's really inspiring. But what I would say is, go with a friend if you can. If you can't, I also think that like having sort of instruction with you can help. Like having an app that teaches you how to do the exercise can help build your confidence for sure and help kind of shake some of that anxiety. Also, just remembering you deserve to be there. Everybody starts somewhere, and also most people in the gym, this might be crazy, it might sound crazy, are really fucking nice and are willing to help too. If you fuck up or if you drop something or if something bad happens, like people are really, really nice, I promise you. Once in a while there's an asshole, but like the majority of the time, no one's focused on you, but people are always willing to help you at the gym. That's been my experience, at least. People are really nice. I know, again, my experience is gonna probably look different than other people's too. Urge you to remember that you deserve to take up space. You deserve to be there. You deserve to do what you want to do to preserve your health. Did 75 hard play a role in your weight loss? I know you didn't complete it, but you were doing 2-a-day workouts. So did you lose more weight during that time period? So I did do 75 hard. It's not something that I really mentioned before now because 75 hard was just kind of an annoyance, to be honest, more than anything. I didn't really enjoy that I had to drink a certain amount of water and read nonfiction and take selfies and do that kind of shit. That didn't work for me. But yes, you're right. I did do 2-a-day workouts, but you might remember a couple of questions ago, I told you I was already doing 2-a-day workouts for most of the time, you know, beyond that first month. So no, I didn't notice a difference during 75 hard because I was already doing 2-a-day workouts before and after 75 hard. So I didn't actually lose more weight. I look at that month time period that I did it. Actually, I think it was 2 months. The rate of weight loss was actually the exact same. I don't really recommend 75 hard for most people. I think that it's too much of a time commitment. I don't think that you need to do it. It wasn't designed, honestly, to be a weight loss thing. It was actually designed as like a self-discipline thing. Doing any movement's awesome. I don't think most people need to do 2-a-day workouts, and I don't think I've said that, but I do it because I like to exercise and because I work for myself and I can. But most people don't have like 2+ hours on their hands to just like fuck around and work out. So I think if you can commit like 30 minutes every couple of days exercise, that's awesome. You don't have to exercise as much as I do to see results. How often do you work out and how long are your workouts? And I'll answer that in terms of now. Again, I no longer go on my walks, not because I don't love them, but it doesn't really fit my current goals. And I do either Pilates or bar, mostly because I'm trying to actually like really good at Pilates and like level up in my practice there. That's like one of my goals right now. So I mostly do Pilates. I do Pilates 5 times a week, bar 2 times a week. I do a push-pull legs split for my workout. So I spend about 45 minutes lifting every day, or push-pull or legs, and then I do about 20 minutes of zone 2 cardio on the Stairmaster every day. It ends up being about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours of exercise daily. And right now I'm front loading all of my exercise. I do it all before noon, and I work from about noon to 6 or 7, just depending on the day. And I also work on Saturdays. So I work for myself, which is a huge privilege in all of this. I really prioritize my exercise, and I will give up my weekends basically and work on the weekends so that I can exercise every day. Okay. What are your favorite lifts, and have you seen a difference in the amount that you lift? What are my favorite lifts? I can tell you what my least favorite lifts are. I would say my favorite like things to do when I lift, I love leg press. Lately I've discovered Smith machine step ups. Holy shit, if you want your ass to burn, if you want your glute medius to be on fire, love a good step up. Leg extension for hamstrings, I'm addicted to. My favorite and probably like my best lift, if you could call it, would be one-armed rows. I just went up to 30-pound dumbbell, my one-arm rows, which I'm really proud of. But yeah, my current split is push-pull legs. So I do push-pull legs, and then Saturdays I actually don't lift. I do take a break, so that's my rest day. I do bar on those days, but I don't lift on those days. Have I seen that difference in the amount that I lift? Yes. My current goal is hypertrophy, which is this idea of either lifting more weight every time you lift or going up in reps every time you lift, or at least like every couple of times, right? Eventually there's probably a ceiling there, but the goal is to get stronger over time, and that's how you get stronger over time. In the past like month, I feel like I've really been pushing myself in the gym, and I've been able to like either go up in reps or go up in weight like every time I lift, which is so satisfying. I was doing, I want to say like 20-pound dumbbells like a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago, for my like one arm rows, and now I'm up to 30, which like, it's just so satisfying to see yourself get stronger. Yeah, I've really been pushing myself. I think when I was lifting before I got into maintenance, one, it was like hard to really make a lot of progress because FYI, if you're in a deficit, it's harder to make progress. When you bulk or you eat in a surplus, you know, you eat more food than your body needs, it's easier to lift heavy. Just, I don't understand the biomechanics there, but apparently it's a thing. But also, I don't think I was like pushing myself as hard and trying to make hypertrophic gains back then. Now that I am, yeah, it's really satisfying and it's really fun. No, I don't really focus on favorites. I definitely try to make sure that whatever routine I'm putting together are exercises that I don't hate. You know, and I try to target every muscle group. I do not believe targeting lower body. Sorry, ladies, like you need an upper body too. Also, something to note, I used to lift like 3 or 4 days a week and do like, 8 exercises per day, which is a fuckload. Now I probably do like 4 to 6 separate exercises per day. I can get in and out of the gym pretty quickly if I need to. I normally like take some nice rest between sets, which is why I like lift for about 45 minutes, but yeah. And then someone asked how I came up with my strength plan. And again, I've been lifting on and off since I was 16, and I consume a lot of fitness content. I watch a lot of people online, so I feel like I have a really good understanding of the different muscle groups, of different exercises that are more or less effective. So I've kind of crafted my routine for my particular goals and my particular body, what I like, what I don't like. I hate split squats, for instance. I don't do those. So I wanted to find an alternative, and now I'm doing step ups. Not the exact same mechanism of action, but you are targeting similar muscles there. And so I have those in my routine, for instance. Yeah, I've looked at different resources. I really like Stephanie Buttermore's, can't even remember, Beginners Foundations program, whatever. She's got some really good stuff there. But right now, I did kind of craft my program for myself. I didn't really look at any other resources when doing it. I was like, okay, I need to get this amount of sets per week per muscle group. And I just, found different exercises that I like for those different ones. I know that that's kind of like a generic, like you're telling me nothing sort of answer, but I think once you get far enough along in your exercise journey, you start to just like know the exercises, you know what you like, and you can build something special for yourself. I also finally broke down and paid for the paid version of the Strong app. That is how I track my lifts and whether or not I am lifting heavier. So I'd really recommend the Strong app. You can use it for free, but you get more templates basically if you pay for it. So I paid for the forever version so I can like track my workouts. It's awesome too. It can also like the amount of rest you need between sets and like alert you when it's time to start a new set. So I love the Strong app, and that's kind of how I'm tracking my workouts right now. But if you are trying to get into lifting, which I'm sure is a question that y'all probably have, I'd recommend Whitney Simmons' Alive app. I think that's a really great one. There's a bunch of different programs in there. It's like a postpartum program. I know that she has like a dumbbell only or a from home workout routine. You don't have to go into a commercial gym to lift weights. Instead of dumbbells, if you want to lift at home. My routine is one that I've crafted myself. Don't really feel comfortable sharing it at this point, not because I'm feeling like gatekeepy, but it's for my goals, and I don't think it's like necessarily cover every possible muscle group or like scenario or whatever for everybody. Also in here, have a miscellaneous / rapid fire section. Do I use supplements? No, but yes, I do at this moment use creatine, which has been shown to really help performance and help cognitive function for women, which we love. So I just started taking creatine, and I don't have any strong feelings or thoughts about it. Didn't take creatine whenever I was losing weight. Not for any particular reason, I just added complication. Take creatine. Then in terms of like pills I take, a multivitamin, I take fish oil, and I take vitamin D and magnesium. These are things that have been recommended to me by my doctors. Do not recommend just blindly taking supplements. I don't think that you need all of these things that people try to hawk on the internet. I am not recommending you to try supplements, and also never had any success with using supplements for my PCOS. So I'm not saying don't try them, but if you see someone talking about their 15 pill cocktail, maybe look somewhere else for advice. Just an idea. How to balance exercise and dieting with other parts of life. Honestly, just take a good look at your life and again decide if this is a portion of your life where you can commit to losing weight and undergoing this journey. The whole point of this is to make it a lifestyle. The whole point of this is to make it something that is kind of a seamless part of your everyday. If you are drinking multiple nights a week and you're going out multiple nights a week, maybe analyze if this is the time in your life where you want to commit to diet and exercise, and also figure out if that's like something that is, I guess, essential to you. I mean, sure, you can fit anything into your macros, but I think if you're a heavy drinker, it's probably kind of challenging. If you're talking about a pretty average life where you're going to a 9-to-5 job and you like to go out on the weekends with your family and you go to restaurants, that's very doable in a calorie deficit. And the healthier option when you're going out to a restaurant, but you also don't have to, you can go to a dinner, you can bank calories if you want to, eat a little less throughout the week so you can enjoy your weekend and not even think about the calories, or you can, again, eat a healthier option. There's so many ways to work around it and not allow yourself to be miserable. I went to Houston to see my family multiple times, and we would go out to dinners and stuff, and I just wouldn't think about it. I would get whatever I was hungry for. I would eat as much as I wanted to eat without overeating, and I would just live my life. And then with the exercise can be hard to commit to, especially if you're like commuting and you just feel like, oh, it's gonna like take up part of my day, whatever. Don't need to work out all that much to get an effective workout in or to live a healthy life. Honestly, like 3 days a week, 30 minutes of weightlifting, that's amazing. Like if that's all you can do, that's awesome. And it's really, really effective. I think people think that you need to spend hours in the gym to get your dream body or to live your dream life. And that's just absolutely not the case. All of this can be adapted to whatever life you live. It's just a matter of making the time. Hell, you don't even have to spend 30 minutes. Like you could go on a 15-minute walk every single day. But again, you don't even have to exercise to lose weight if that's something that is just not, for you. Minimum amount of exercise a day is up to you. You can go off of the guidelines that the American government provides. You can do whatever works for you. You don't need a minimum amount of exercise a day. Do what works for you. Microwave or cold lunch options for the office. Again, I don't cook, so I don't really have ideas for you in terms of like actual meal plans. There are a lot of great things on like Pinterest and there are a lot of great like meal prep ideas, but if you're in a pinch and you have a little bit of extra money, I really do recommend Snap Kitchen if you are in Texas or the South. I do think that they ship south, so you can get their awesome meal preps, or Factor. Such a good option. Like their food is so good. I actually just unboxed my Factor delivery like kind of mid video. Excited for this week's meals, but you just get to pick things that are macro friendly that you can easily microwave. You'd also meal prep salads. Like there's so many options for you there. Have you noticed any changes in your libido? I forgot I put this question in here. I don't think I've ever talked about my sex life on the internet, but I'll answer this in 2 ways. Number 1, when I got diagnosed with PCOS, I was really surprised that I did not have high testosterone. Number 2, there's a reason that I've been with the same person for 15 years. So no, I didn't notice any changes because I don't have a problem in that arena, but it might help you. I know that an increase in confidence and also a regulation of hormones can help. Anything I miss from before losing weight, most surprising thing about my journey so far. The only thing I really miss is my ass. It kind of disappeared about 3 months out. It was a bit of a bummer. The most surprising thing about my journey, jewelry. I did not expect like my jewelry to really change sizes. Like I know that I lost weight, but I didn't remember my ring size going up as I gained weight, but I guess it did because all of my jewelry is like insanely loose. Rings, I guess I kind of almost expected, but like this necklace, okay? It has 2 different clasps. On the loosest clasp, when I was at my heaviest, I had to put a necklace extender on this because it was just too tight. Right now, I'm wearing it on its tightest setting and it fits perfectly, which is really nice. And then shoes. Weirdly, shoes. My shoes fit differently. It was an 8.5 at my heaviest and a lot of my shoes were like kind of tight. Now I'm a size 8 and my feet are much more narrow, which is really bizarre. Like very specifically, there's this one pair of sandals that I bought at an in-between weight and they got really, really tight when I was heavy and now they're like almost loose / like perfectly comfortable. I don't know. It's pretty wacky. Example of daily meals, please. I can tell you what I ate for like an average day. So again, I would start with a Premier protein shake, 30 grams of protein, 160 calories. I still have one of those every day. Honestly, most of this I still do. I just eat bigger portion sizes. So one of those, go on my walk. I would come back. I would have my breakfast bowl, which was crispy seasoned potatoes, some scrambled eggs with cheese, and some black beans. And sometimes I talk with pico or with guac. Fucking love that. That was my big breakfast. I like breakfast, so I would a lot of calories to breakfast. For lunch, I would have like a Snap Kitchen meal prep, which would sometimes be like cacio e pepe or like chicken and potatoes or just like tacos or whatever I got from Snap Kitchen that week. Normally around 400 or 500 calories, 30 grams of protein. For dinner, again, around 400 or 500 calories, 30 grams of protein. It would be like pasta or I really fucking like pasta. So pasta, always with chicken, of course, to like balance things out. I would have like, again, tacos. I would have just like anything that sounded good and fit my macros. And then for dessert, I would have my yogurt bowl. So that's a lot of food. I don't know about you, but that's a lot of food. And I was still in a calorie deficit. So that's kind of what I would eat. I will leave in the description box some of my favorite recipes. We've actually discovered even more healthy recipes, even though I'm out of a calorie deficit. How many pounds did you lose on average every 2 weeks? Did you set a time frame? Every 2 weeks, I guess 2 pounds? I lost about a pound a week. That was like pretty consistent. At the very beginning, I lost more. I think part of that was just like the whoosh of water weight that kind of comes off at the beginning of a weight loss journey. And did I set a time frame? No. Set a goal weight range where I was like, I want to lose about 45 pounds. I would like to land between 120, 130. Did not set a time frame. I think that's not a good idea. Favorite YouTubers and influencers for inspo. Controversial opinion here. I would not recommend you really follow a ton of people for inspiration. And that's not that there is not great inspiration out there, but inspiration specifically can be really not helpful. I don't really want to see fitness influencers when I'm currently on a fitness journey because they have perfect bodies and amazingly photoshopped asses. I don't really need to be seeing that because I want to be the best version of me, not the best version of somebody else. Would say if you're trying to learn more about, healthy eating or things like that, following registered dietitians on TikTok is kind of helpful. Found fast food hacks from Smaller Sam on TikTok, which was really nice. So I would follow people who like talked about food more specifically. I wouldn't really recommend following fitness influencers. How did I make sure to stay in a deficit? Track your weight daily. I think that's really the best thing, and see if your weight is trending down. I used the Happy Scale app to track my weight, and they have so many different ways to visualize the data, but you can see trends over time, especially if you're weighing yourself daily. Do you struggle with food noise? Yes, on and off. For me, it's not a consistent thing. I will go through like periods of time, weeks or months, where I'm really struggling, and then sometimes when it just kind of abates, which is really nice. Say the only thing that's truly helped me with food noise is eating high protein, high fiber diet. I don't feel like I'm constantly thinking about food because my body is like almost like satiated. And I know that everybody's food noise looks different, and some people, it doesn't matter what they eat, like the food noise is always going to persist, but just eating what I needed to eat, I think really helped me personally. Are you missing any foods in particular? No, because I didn't cut any foods out. All-time favorite workout outfit. This has changed over the course of working out. When I went through my journey, I bought some workout sets from CRZ. I didn't want to invest a lot of money into workout clothes that I knew wouldn't fit me by the end of it, but I really liked their sets, which I'll link down below. Right now I'm really on a Beyond Yoga kick. I really like their tanks and their shorts. I really like wearing shorts because I like my legs, and it's also fucking hot here. Aside from Outlive, do you recommend other nonfiction books that helped you? I only read Outlive through my journey. I say don't follow influencers. Like I would occasionally watch people like Mike Israetel from Renaissance Periodization. I would watch like Will Tennyson sometimes for entertainment. I would watch the podcast by Peter Attia, who again wrote Outlive. I liked to consume kind of like health information, but it's also sometimes hard to parse through what is real and what is bullshit. Like I don't listen to the Huberman podcast because I think a lot of the people he has on are hacks. Yeah, I would recommend Outlive. I can't really recommend any other books because I haven't read any, and I also don't really recommend any specific YouTubers, but like sometimes immersing yourself in the health and fitness world can like be helpful when you're on a journey. I don't know. I feel like this is like sounding conflicting, but I think you get what I'm saying, right? Okay, out of the rapid fire round, talk about challenges and maintenance. This is gonna be tricky for me to talk about. Let's buckle in. I'm gonna put my legs up. Okay, I'm gonna combine these two questions. If you could change anything about your journey, what would it be? And was it harder to get the last 25 pounds off? So I've talked about this a little bit on my channel, but I have a mood disorder and go through various different changes in moods, shall we say. It had been a really long time since I had been truly deeply depressed until this last winter, and it was something that really crept up on me. I don't know how it happened, but I essentially stopped exercising and stopped eating. Basically daily bed rotting. I was online shopping and watching YouTube videos and barely doing I did my job. I did enough to be able to post videos, but like I really struggled. Was under eating because I was so apathetic. I would not even get out of bed to make myself meals. I would eat dinner every night because, Hayden would be off work and we would go get dinner, but like I just didn't take care of myself, and I really regret that. I wish that I could go back and change it, but like I can't really do anything about it now. I think part of it was like I went on a vacation in November and I came back and it was like kind of hard to get back into things, and time change had happened, and I mean sometimes you just don't know why you get depressed. If you have a diagnosed mood disorder, you understand like it's not like any one thing happened. It's not like bad things happened. I just was depressed and I was under eating, and so no, it was not hard to get the last 25 pounds off. Not that I got 25 pounds off by doing that, I will say. I think it was more like 10-ish pounds, but yeah, that really was not a fun time in my life, and I wish that I could change that genuinely. I also, it's hard to not look back and wonder I would have retained more muscle had I been exercising and like doing a smarter calorie deficit, during that time period, but unfortunately, like I can't go back and change it. I can only do better going forward and try to prevent that sort of thing from happening. But yeah, with the mood disorder, I try not to be too hard on myself for things like that. Wouldn't recommend it. I would not recommend under eating. It's not great. I did lose some of my hair from that. I'm still like facing the consequences basically of that. I felt awful all the time and I just didn't do anything about it because I felt like shit mentally. So yeah, it was not harder for me to get the last 25 pounds off. About 10 of the last pounds was like during that kind of depressive episode. I had lost a lot of weight up until that point. Like before I went on my vacation, I felt fucking good. I felt so good. I felt like I looked so good. I do think it probably would have been harder psychologically, like if that depression hadn't happened, and it probably would have been hard to get the last like 10-15 pounds off because you're having to, continue to decrease your calories. And when you're in just like a normal place, it's hard to eat less food. When you're really depressed, it's not that hard. Did you have any setbacks, challenges, or plateaus? Again, for me, I think the biggest one was that plateau, I guess you could say, after the first month, when I started incorporating weightlifting and was retaining water and not seeing the scale move. Like that was really hard psychologically because I felt like, oh, I had success. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, do I need to decrease my calories? Like, what am I doing? Could go back and shake myself. I would. And that's why I'm telling you this and telling you twice. If you start doing any form of exercise, but especially like weightlifting or anything beyond beyond just walking, like, you might retain water for a little bit. 4 to 6 weeks is like not abnormal. It's challenging mentally for sure. I think at the beginning too, it's like you don't feel like you know what you're doing. You don't know if you're in the right deficit for yourself. I would literally track, I would get on the TDEE calculator like multiple times in the first few weeks. I'm like, is this right? Is this right? Is this right? The only thing that's going to be right is like you actually doing this and tracking your weight and like seeing the change over time. And I think something really helpful is that time happens anyway. Like, time is going to happen no matter if you decide to undertake this or not. What does it matter if it takes you a couple of extra weeks to get into that calorie deficit? Like, you're doing the damn thing, right? Like, the time's going to pass anyway. It's crazy to me that a year has passed since all of the things that happened last year. And it's crazy to me that I'm sitting here a year later and I've lost the weight. Like, it's mind-blowing to me. But setbacks, challenges, plateaus are so normal. That plateau really happened for me at the beginning. It was hard, but I just kept doing what I needed to do, and I did not decrease my calories. I just stuck with it. Then obviously you're gonna have to decrease your calories over time. Before I got depressed, I did have to bump my calories down. I think I had bumped my calories twice. Last time I bumped my calories basically before getting really depressed. That was hard. I will say that was actually kind of hard. Now that I'm thinking about it, sometimes it's kind of a blur, but I figured out like what my body does and does not like in terms of calorie deficit and like minimum amount of calories that I need to like not feel like shit. I figured that out. Yeah, on the last bump that I had to do. So that was not super fun. But I just reminded myself like this is temporary. And also something actually kind of related to the next question. I chose my goal weight and knew I'd be happy with it. Knew when I calculated my goal weight, I also calculated the amount of calories I would be able to eat at my goal weight. And I knew that it was like significantly more than I was eating for that like deficit period where I was a little miserable. Yeah, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Once you get down to maintenance, like you're gonna get to eat all of the food. It's gonna be amazing. And there weren't that many times, I will say, like when I went into that, you know, I had to bump my calories down. I wasn't like miserable all of the time, but I had a couple of moments where I was like, oh, make it end. And it's the thing is, like, I had been in the calorie deficit for so long, like been in a deficit for months. It makes sense that I was starting to get a little tired. And I think actually, you know, that's kind of when I stopped tracking. I was like, oh God, please just leave me alone. But let's talk about the end goal thing and how I knew I would be happy with my end goal. So I guess the luxury of having seen myself at a bunch of different weights, I knew how I felt at different weights. I knew what I looked like at different weights, and I could literally pull up a catalog of like, okay, this is Chandler at 125, this is Chandler at 140. Like, I got to just see what I like the look of. And for me, the happiest I've ever been with my body at around 125 when I was about 21. I graduated high school at about 118, which is pretty skinny, and I didn't do anything special to achieve that. Again, like being thin was a pretty, like, I don't want to say natural thing to me, but yeah, like I genetically am just a thin person. So I did high school at 118, but I didn't really have ass and I didn't really have boobs. And once I got to college and like put on just a little bit of weight, 125, I was like, wow, I have a womanly body. Like I had probably about like a beer C cup chest and my ass looked amazing and I just felt really confident. And it was also a great time in my life, but kind of referenced BMI. Not that BMI is like the be all end all or anything, but I knew that that was like a healthy weight for my height. And again, I looked by TDEE. I was out of curiosity at first to see, okay, how much would I be eating at this particular weight? Because I didn't want to pick something that was unsustainable for me. So yeah, I aimed for 125 was like kind of my goal, but I was happy between 120 and 130. And I got down at my lowest to about 122. And once I got out of my deficit, I put on like water weight or whatever pretty quickly, which is very normal, I should say, after you come out of a deficit, and got to about 126, 127, which is where I'm sitting right now. And I've been at this weight for about a couple of months and it's been real nice. So that's how I chose my end goal. In terms of knowing I'd be happy with it again, like I knew that I was happy at this weight before. I also sort of conditioned myself ahead of time to know that there's no perfect weight, that I might not look the same as I did last time I was this weight, and I was okay with that. I also knew like once I get to my goal weight, I'm probably not going to be as lean as I want to be. Like I probably want to put on more muscle. So to me, it was like a stepping stone. It wasn't something that I was like, okay, once I get here, I'll have made it, you know? But that's kind of how I chose it. I just like knew I liked that weight. I knew it was a healthy weight for me. Maybe it's confirmation bias, but I didn't start getting truly regular periods until I got into like 130 and below. So my body likes being here. So that's really encouraging and nice. Someone asked how long it took me. It took me from, let's say, the last week of May of 2024 to, I want to say like the end of March of 2025. So however long that is, I don't want to do the math. Less than a year, but like not like 8 months-ish or something like that. Maintaining weight loss, and are you still tracking calories, and do I need to? So yes, I actually am tracking calories at the moment. And a big part of that again is because I was under eating and I kind of like lost sight of how much I should be eating to fuel my body. I also have very specific physique goals and muscle gain goals at the moment, so I want to make sure I'm eating enough. So yes, I am currently tracking my calories to ensure I'm eating enough food. Literally told Hayden, like, once I started feeling the depression lift, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get back to it and I'm gonna start tracking my calories again. And he was like, why? You're like, you've lost weight. And I'm like, yeah, but like, I haven't been in maintenance at this weight. I also like wasn't in a deficit. Well, I mean, I was in a deficit, but like I wasn't tracking my deficit for like part of that. And I don't know, I felt scrambled, to be honest. So I was like, yeah, no, I need to track. So I am eating, make sure I'm eating enough, you know? And I knew I was going to get weightlifting again. And I was like, I need to eat enough protein and do what I need to do. So yes, I am tracking my calories in my LifeSum app, which I love to use to track my calories. And do I need to track my calories? Yes, presently. Not scared that I am going to, you know, regain all of the weight if I don't track my calories. I've learned really healthy habits, but also think it's maybe a little bit naive to assume that it only takes a year to completely change your habits that you've had for the past like 30. I don't think that like perfectly intuitively eat, you know what I mean? Like I don't know that I could perfectly intuitively eat if I wasn't tracking. I don't think that I would like, again, necessarily gain all of the weight back, but long way to go in terms of trying to eat more nutrient dense foods. Like yes, I eat high protein, high fiber, and I'm proud of the progress I've made over the past year, but like I eat a lot of fast food still, you know? And I want to start incorporating more whole foods, and like I don't know what that looks like in terms of macros yet. So I'm still learning, and that is why I'm tracking. I'm still learning. I want to make sure I'm eating enough food. I want to make sure I'm getting my protein in, because yeah, my goal right now is to body recomp, and I guess we can talk about that at some point. But how did I get into maintenance, and did I do reverse dieting? No, I did not do reverse dieting. That's this idea that like slowly up your calories until you hit maintenance, and this might work for some people, especially people who are really scared of gaining weight, wanted to just eat normally. So no, I didn't reverse diet or like add calories slowly back in, and no, not a bad idea, but not for me. Are there any new habits and activities you want to try now that you're at the end of your weight loss journey? I guess we can talk about recomp now. Yeah, I want to body recomp. So I'm gonna ask my sister if I can get her permission to show this picture and this transformation, because it is insane to me. I don't want to say I want to be an athlete, but like I kind of treat my life like I am an athlete. I really love exercise. I want to learn more about exercise. I am trying to level up in Pilates and like do more there. I want to increase my strength in lifts. I want to have a sculpted physique. I want like strong arms that you can see even at rest. So I'm trying to body recomp basically. And my sister has done this again before me, so I really have her model to follow, but it's this idea of basically changing the composition of your body, getting rid of body fat while also putting on muscle and kind of maintaining your overall weight. Like I don't want to be skinnier than I am. I want to be stronger than I currently am. I want to look really strong. But I also don't necessarily want to put on a ton of weight because I want to still fit into the clothes that I've purchased. So my goal is to body recomp right now. I also think I might want to get like certified in some stuff. I don't necessarily know that I like be a personal trainer, but yeah, I just want to like increase my fitness knowledge and my nutrition knowledge. I feel like I've learned so much over the past year, but there's so much I don't know. I might do a mini bulk, mini cut in like the fall winter time, we'll see. But yeah, I really want to get strong. And someone asked, and this is related, did I do a DEXA scan? I had talked about doing it in the last video. Have I done a DEXA scan? And the answer is yes, unfortunately. So a DEXA scan is a measurement that can show you how much body fat you have compared to muscle and bone density, that sort of thing. It's really cool. It's fairly accurate. I did one post weight loss, and I won't lie, the results were like kind of disappointing to me. Body fat percentage is higher than I would expect at this particular weight. Like respective to my weight, my body fat's kind of high. The muscle and bone density for myself is pretty shit. And I can't tell if that's just par for the course with weight loss and that I just didn't have much, you know, muscle to begin with. I can't tell if that is just by nature of me not exercising and not eating well for like a few months, but I was pretty disappointed at my results. And it also specifically told me that like I have no upper body strength, which I knew, but it was shitty to hear. So really like my goal right now is to get strong so I look sexy and like look strong, but also so I have that sexy, dense bone and muscle that I need to go into the rest of my life. Because if you didn't know, women lose muscle like every year after 30 unless you work out. Yeah, lifting heavy weights is super important, and I'm gonna be recomping this body this year. I hope by the end of the year I'm just like fat, juicy ass, broad shoulders, like sculpted biceps. Like that's what I'm going for. And the last question in this section is, what do you do if your weight goes up? What I do if the weight goes up? Nothing. I'm not in the phase of my life, nor do I ever want to be in the phase of my life, where I am trying to control down to the digit what my weight looks like. I aimed for a goal weight range because I know how much the body fluctuates. Through this weight loss journey, I know how much the body fluctuates. I want to be able to have a crazy fucking weekend in Houston and eat whatever the fuck I desire and allow my weight to go up a little bit. I am totally cool with my weight going down. If I like exercise really, really hard one week, I like push myself really hard. Cool with my weight fluctuating a little bit. It's okay if my weight goes up a little bit. Now, my weight went really dramatically outside of my weight range that I hope to stay in. I might be concerned. I'm not as concerned right now, again, because I have body recomp goals, and if I put muscle on and I'm eating in a slight surplus, that's fine. I really don't care. I think I would maybe reevaluate, like, what am I doing? Like, have I been treating myself kindly? Have I been eating too much fast food? Have I been like maybe not doing like things that I know are good for me? But yeah, I don't know. I think that this journey has been awesome and I've gained a lot of discipline from it, but I never want my relationship with health and fitness to hinge on a certain number or hinge on my weight, because your weight really is the least interesting thing about you. And while I'm so proud of this journey that I've gone on, you know, I feel so confident and good in my own skin. I don't want my self-worth to be based on my weight or specific number. So if my weight goes up, it's okay, you know, and I'm okay with that. And to be honest, your weight is going to fluctuate. I get pregnant, my weight's going to go up. I go through a really challenging time in my life, my weight's probably going to go up. I think I have a very healthy relationship with that. And I want to instill that in you too. If you're going to take this on, put on a little weight after, you know, going through a weight loss journey, that's okay. I think there's a huge difference between starving yourself, having rebound weight come on because your body is like sending those increased hunger cues to feed you, and you know, gain weight. That's different than putting on a little bit of weight because you've gained some muscle, or putting on a little bit of weight because, I don't know, you're eating a maintenance for the first time. Like it's not, there's differences in these things, but again, I never want to get to a place where I'm like, yeah, restricting so that I stay at the same number. So back to sitting normally. I just had a snack. I took a snack break. And now we can talk about the final section, which is I'm entitling feelings and treatment. So basically how people have been treating me and just like how I'm feeling post weight loss. So do people treat you differently after losing weight? And did people treat you differently before losing weight? In terms of did people treat me differently, I'm the first to admit that while I was in a larger body I'm used to, I was not in what society I think deems to be a larger body. I was not plus size. I was, yeah, bigger than I'm used to, but not body that I think a lot of people ridiculed. I really did not face a lot of criticism of my body as I was gaining weight. There was one person in my life, I will say, in my personal life, was pretty brutal to me about my weight gain. Definitely made a lot of comments and made me feel like shit about gaining weight. Definitely did not help me in my journey. So if you have someone in your life who has gained weight, body has changed, they know. And they don't need to be told by you. It is deeply unhelpful to have someone who, you know, you're close to say things like that to you. I think that because of the way that they treated me, I had that in my head a lot. And I think it prevented me from honestly like taking my life into my own hands as soon as I maybe wanted to. I think there were definitely multiple times when they would like make comments, I would think to myself like, oh, I need to change myself or whatever. It never came from a place of like, I actually want to do this for me. It was like, I just want to do it to prove this person wrong or whatever, that I can lose weight, whatever. It was only when I decided to 100% do this for myself and I just completely tuned that person out, I was able to be successful. And it was so fucking freeing that once I did lose the weight and they were like validating me for losing the weight, that I just did not give a fuck. I did not give a fuck what they said. I didn't want their opinion. I didn't want their approval. I didn't really talk to them much about the process of me losing weight either. It wasn't something I felt like I needed to brag about and be like, oh, look at what I'm doing finally. Like I had one person in my life who was really shitty. Everybody else really didn't say anything or didn't care about my body, which I really, really appreciate. Also, I think it goes without saying, but maybe I should say it. That person is not my husband. My husband has been supportive of whatever I want to do with my body and has loved me at every size. But yeah, I had one person in my life who was really shitty to me about my weight. Everybody else, like no one really said anything. Like I don't feel like strangers treated me any differently. I don't feel like the internet really treated me any differently. That being said, post weight loss, I get a lot of different treatment, I guess. Like I think people are a lot kinder to me. I think people are very complimentary. And a lot of that is that like I've talked about losing weight and that I'm happy with it. So it makes sense that people are complimentary, I guess. Like I tend to try to compliment people on things I know that they've worked hard for. With the internet, I've been getting a lot more compliments, even from people who I don't think know that I've lost weight. Transformed me. I am so much more confident. I wear color now. I'm just a happier person. And so I think that when you see someone who is really shining and really in their element, it's so much easier to compliment them. So it's like the increase in compliments because I'm skinnier, or is the increase in compliments because like happier and I'm more vibrant and I'm like the best version of myself, you know? I don't know. I don't have any like really negative feelings about the treatment that I've been receiving. I don't really feel that weird about it. But that being said, I could definitely see how if you were in a larger body your whole life and then you lost a bunch of weight appreciate how hard it must be to have people suddenly complimenting you for your body. I'm sure that that is really, it's an experience I don't have, but I can imagine how challenging that could be. So yeah, it's been interesting. Been treated differently for sure, mostly positively, but I don't know how much of that is because I'm thinner or it's just because I'm happier. I don't want to say I try not to think too much about it, but like I don't really spend a lot of time thinking about how like people see me or treat me. I think that's kind of par for the course of being on the internet. Like I try just not to think about the fact that I am being perceived. The next question is, what's your take on body positivity and neutrality? Your personal take on those living in bigger bodies. So first, I'll answer the last part of the question, which is my personal take on those living in bigger bodies, and that is that everybody's body, no matter what its size, is not my fucking business. Really, like I don't care what you do with your body, don't care what your body looks like. I will cheer for you if you want to lose weight. I'll cheer for you if you don't want to lose weight. I'll cheer for you if you need to gain weight. Like I think that everybody is deserving of respect. And I do not believe that by, again, looking at someone, you can tell what their health status is. I also think that something I didn't touch on, but something I think about a lot is the morality that people try to attach to weight loss, to the foods that we eat and the way that we exercise. You know, I'm being good and I eat clean and I am better than other people because I do this, that, or the other. You're not. You're simply not. Like, I am so proud of myself, and yes, I was disciplined to get this done, but like, no better than anybody else, right? Just because I worked hard on this doesn't mean that other people aren't working hard on other things. Like, I really don't like that. I'm very specifically thinking of one TikTok. Like, didn't even get very much traction, but it, for some reason was on my For You page, and it was this woman talking about how we all have the same 24 hours in a day and we can all work really hard, but so many people just don't want to work hard. And, you know, I don't have amazing genetics, you know, don't have all the time in the world, and I'm not that rich. And I was still able to do this. I'm like, you're filming a very nice apartment. Like I can see your surroundings behind you. You're in a very nice apartment or in such a place of privilege, and you're not any better than anyone because you've been able to do this, right? And I again, I'm proud of myself, but I'm not any better than anyone because I've done this. And yeah, it's just really bizarre. I think like the morality attached to it, like because I'm like eating more vegetables, like I'm better, or like this is clean, this is good, exercising, you know, I'm so take care of myself. Like, shut the fuck up. Ugh, I just like hate all of that mindset. So all that to say, I don't believe that any body type is better than others. I don't believe that being in a smaller body makes me better than other people. I don't think that being in a bigger body is bad. That's how I feel about it. And then my take on body positivity and neutrality, I don't want to say been up and down on all of these different like things, but I went through a phase where I was listening and consuming a lot of health at every size content. I have listened to a lot of like body positivity content, and honestly think there are great parts of all of it. I think that we have gone in like so many directions with it, as in like, you know, we had what felt like some really good progress in body positivity, and now skinny talk has taken over, which is just so fucking irritating. The messaging is just absolutely vile. Body positivity is an incredible movement. I think body neutrality also an incredible idea and an incredible movement. What hates me is when I hear people say, oh, they've gone too far and whatever. It's like, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that my hope, I guess, and the way that I feel about bodies in general is like, I hope that we can get to a place where we respect everybody, that we don't make assumptions about people based on what they look like, that people have the tools and the resources to be able to do whatever they want with their body. And there's so many things that are involved in that, right? That like, we have universal health care so people can like get the help that they need, that people would have, you know, universal child care so that they could have time to exercise, like, but we don't have all of that. And so pro body positivity, pro body neutrality, and whatever helps you get through this world that we live in, I think is like, is a positive thing. I don't know if any of that made sense, but basically I get really irritated when I see people say, oh, body positivity, like it was great at the beginning, but it's gone too far. Whereas in my eyes, like, I don't know if it's actually gone that far because it seems like we are going in a regressive direction. So anyway, do you struggle with stretch marks or cellulite or anything else related to weight fluctuations, and does it bother you? Yes and no. So cellulite I have kind of no matter what size I'm at. I had cellulite when I was 118. I had cellulite when I was 168. I have a lot less cellulite now, and I actually think that like weight training specifically has made my cellulite less visible, which has been really cool. I don't really care about it. I feel like I cared about it in high school when I started noticing it, but it's just a part of being a human being. Like I don't really have any feelings about it. And stretch marks, don't hate me, but I don't have stretch marks. I just genetically am not predisposed to them. My mom doesn't really get stretch marks either, so that just kind of is what it is there. But I do have body things, I guess, when it comes to weight fluctuations. When I got to my lowest weight, I was noticing a lot of like, not stretched skin, but like skin laxity in my arms, like right here, and in my inner thighs. And you can really see it in the video footage that I took at my lowest weight. I wasn't exercising at that point. It was like right at the end of my depression. And a lot of that has actually gone away, which is really cool. I think part of it is like getting back into the gym, maybe like putting on just a touch of weight and like the water coming back to my body, the glycogen, I'm not really sure. Also, fun fact, if you take a break from lifting weights for like a month or two, your muscles do atrophy, but they do come back pretty quickly once you start working out again. So maybe it's that, but a lot of the laxity has like kind of gone away, which has been really cool. And I can't promise that'll happen to you. I can't promise that you won't get loose skin or stretch marks or cellulite or whatever, but yeah, I have come, I don't want to say come pretty unscathed from this, but like I don't have a lot of body changes, I guess, from my weight gain and weight loss, which I feel really lucky about, but it's also like, it's not that big of a deal. If I had had some loose skin or some stretch marks, it would have been okay. My ass, I will say, is maybe like the one area that like looks the worst. Probably my ass and my boobs, frankly. My butt, it just looks a little saggy and sad. I think my butt was mostly fat and not a lot of muscle, and so it just doesn't look so good, but I'm kind of over it. And then my boobs, I would say kind of like midway through my journey, I started noticing that they were looking kind of not my favorite. Before I gained weight, had like probably a C-cup chest, and they were very high and round on my body, like probably like up here. They were so cute. And then I gained weight, and I gained a lot of weight in my boobs. I was like a double D, probably more like a triple D. Then I lost weight, and I'm still a double D, but a smaller band size, so the cup size is obviously a little smaller as well. And they're just not quite as full and round as I'm used to. They're still cute. I still love them. All boobs are good boobs, but they do look different. So it's like my body is not completely unchanged from my weight loss, but I am not dealing with a lot of like, again, stretch mark, loose skin, that sort of thing. And that's just my reality. I don't think it's like a big deal either way, but obviously it's easy to say that having not really dealt with it. But do you feel like your face looks older now that there is less fat in it? That's a really good question. No, I don't think that I look older. When I compare myself at this weight and my face at this weight at this age compared to the last time I was this weight, a decade younger. I was 21 the last time I was this weight. So yeah, I look older. I don't think that I look necessarily older than I did when I had more fat in my face. I don't want to say I don't carry fat in my face. I gain fat in my face as I gain weight. Like that is the first place that I gain it. But naturally I have a very narrow, like very, very thin face. And so I just feel like I look like myself again, if that makes sense. And maybe that looks older to some people. I honestly don't really care. I think that strangely, this whole process, not even strangely, because I think I did it the right way. This process has actually made me accept myself and love myself, flaws and all. I did like things about my bigger body. I liked my bigger butt. I liked my bigger boobs. I liked certain things about my body shape and how I looked at that size, right? And I like things about me at this size. And I'm like becoming reacquainted with the things that I used to remember from being this size again. And I feel reacquainted with my face again because this is what my face has looked like for most of my life, and really cool to get to see this face age, to get to see a side-by-side of what I looked like at 21 and 31. I'm excited to age, actually. I think I was really scared of aging for a long time. I'm not really scared of that anymore because I feel at home in myself and I feel really secure and confident, and I know that like I'll be lucky if I get to age. Do you have any insecurities now, which might be an effect of gaining and then losing weight, and how do you deal with that? Again, I already kind of covered it. My poor boobs and butt. It really bothered me like once I started noticing them kind of looking deflated and sad, but now that I'm like post weight loss and working on other things, like I'm very specifically working on, you know, gaining muscle, I just don't care so much. Like my boobs are what my boobs are. And I also remind myself, like, if I decide to breastfeed a kid, if I am lucky enough to be able to carry a baby, my boobs are probably going to change. If I get older, if I have the privilege of getting older, my boobs are probably going to sag. Who's to say that even if I hadn't gained weight, my boobs wouldn't have sagged? Like, it just is what it is. And my butt, you know, she's not in front of me, so I don't have to look at her that much. I don't know. Yeah, like there's always going to be new insecurities that pop up. Oh, here's one. One of the things I really miss about being heavier is because my cheeks were bigger, my dark circles were less. I forgot how much my dark circles fucking sucked until I lost weight, but it was also kind of like, oh, like I'm me again. Like my dark circles are back. I have to like slather on the concealer under there. It's such a mixed bag. Like I think I've just accepted myself at every weight, and like again, I know this body's gonna change, it's gonna fluctuate. It is what it is. It's not that deep. Most unexpected part of being back to my old size, a couple of things. I mean, I've mostly touched on them. Just the things that kind of annoyed me when I was thin the last time are things that still annoy me now, but in like a comforting way, you know what I mean? It's like your family member who has like annoying quirks, but you're just like grateful to like have them around. That's kind of how I feel. I would say maybe unexpected was sensory things that I kind of took for granted, I guess, the first time that I was in a smaller body. And I almost hesitate saying these things because like, don't think that one is inherently better, or, you know, that it's bad if you have these things. I don't want to give you a complex, but I'll just give you like one, for example. When I was thin, first time, I say the first time, but yeah, most of my life, my thighs have not touched. I think it's probably because I'm partially fucking bow-legged. I didn't really deal with a lot of chafing. Obviously, it's like nice to not have to deal with the chafing. I don't think it's like bad if your thighs touch naturally. Like it's not really a big deal. But yeah, there's just like little things. Again, like my feet being smaller and more narrow. So like my shoes fit a little better. That's nice. Yeah, there hasn't been that much unexpected and dark circles. Did you notice any difference physically as the days went on, or did you just look in the mirror one day and see it? So for me, I did take video and pictures like fairly often. It's interesting the phases. Like after the first month, I lost about 10 pounds in the first month. A lot of that was water, but also I think you could kind of see it on my body just a little bit. I thought I looked completely different. You couldn't tell me anything. I was like, I am that bitch. I've done this. Taking pictures and videos really helps. I think just loving yourself also really helps. Like you're gonna see it if you are looking for it. You know what I mean? As the months kind of carried on, I felt like the changes were like slower coming, and like when you're in the thick of it, you don't really notice all the changes coming. But after my 3 months of bed rotting and slowly losing weight and, you know, eventually kind of getting to my goal weight, I did kind of just have this moment where I was like I've done this. And that was really cool. I'm not gonna lie. I had like a month where I was just riding high. Like I know who I am, but like this is crazy. Like this is amazing. I look so different. Make like little side by sides and like send them to my sister. Not ask for validation, but like hope she would give it to me, which was really nice. She always did, which for so much. But yeah, I kind of did wake up one day and just see it, but also I think the videos and the pictures really, really help, especially if like the scale, if you don't see the scale moving as much, those pictures, because sometimes you can visually see something that you might not see in numbers. What do you think was the biggest contributor in terms of seeing progress? And this question I think is like diet versus exercise, and I don't think I've explicitly said this yet, which is kind of crazy, but the only thing that made me be in a calorie deficit is my diet. Exercise was fun, exercise was awesome, but like calorie deficit and the diet was the only thing that like was going to change my body, and probably the only thing that's going to change your body as well. So yes, it was definitely the diet. I mean, the exercise I think was awesome, and I did start to see like little baby muscles grow, which was cool, but you really want to see it. It's all diet related. Whatever that means for you, whether it's, you know, tracking your measurements or you're weighing yourself or you're just like visually seeing it. If you want to like, I guess, see the progress, like you have to do the diet part. I'm scared you wouldn't be satisfied with your end point. Ooh, juicy. Kind of, I think that once I got into the 140s, I was like, I don't know, thinking to myself, like, I think that was one of the times where I like wasn't visually seeing it. And I was like, I don't know if like weight range is going to be what I want. I think I'm going to have to be like 120 to like really like my body. It's because like once I went on my trip and saw pictures from my trip, I was like, oh, my body rocks. Like I don't need to be like, you know, worlds lighter or whatever. Yeah. So like not midway through, but kind of the 140s, I was like kind of nervous that my endpoint wouldn't be enough. But once I started, you know, getting down into like the 130s, the low 130s and into the 120s, I was like, yeah, no, I look good. I don't need to do more than that. So I got there. Yeah, I was satisfied. How did it feel physically to change so much so quickly? And I think that is just like really the internet speaking, as in, I think it can be really easy to see someone's transformation and be like, holy shit, like you changed so much in a year. And it's like, yeah, it's been a whole year. It's been a whole year of like really concerted effort and exercise and diet. There's another way to look at that too, which is like, if it seems like no time passed, just imagine if you undertook this yourself, right? Like it doesn't have to take forever. And I didn't like do anything extreme. I wasn't like some extreme weight loss diet, but the time passes anyway, right? So yeah, my weight loss wasn't actually that quick. It was just very steady, which I'm very grateful for. And I know that's not the case for everybody. I did have, you know, some like mini plateaus. My weight did go up and down a little bit here and there, but overall, did not feel crazy to change so much so quickly, because the change was not quick. It took a while. Do I feel mentally changed? Yeah, I really do. A much, much, much better relationship with myself. I feel so confident because I feel like if I've done this, I can do anything. I don't feel this overwhelming urge to control everything in my life, but I do know that I am capable of like doing hard things. I am capable of, you know, writing parts of my own destiny. Really cool to look at where I was last year, freshly unemployed and fresh off of a miscarriage, get to just see this completely different version of myself where I am happy. I get to enjoy the foods I love. I get to move my body in a fun way. I get to really fully be present with my family. That's something I haven't really talked about, I guess, but you know, my family, like they didn't pressure me to lose weight. I need to state that for the record, but having a family who's beautiful, to be honest, all of my family members are so much prettier than me. Having a mom and a dad and a sister who are stunning and who are in great shape and are thin was really fucking hard for me. Especially when I would like go visit and we would need to go to dinner and none of my clothes fit the way that I wanted to. And I always felt like I was the biggest one. That was hard emotionally for sure. So yeah, I feel like I'm in such a different place because I really love myself. Don't feel like I'm comparing myself to my family members anymore, which is really cool. And I also get to enjoy time with them, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, because I'm not trying to compare myself to them, because I don't feel like I have to prove myself, because I don't feel like I have to change myself, because I feel whole and complete in myself, I'm able to enjoy the people around me. Talked to a couple of people about this and you know, something that I didn't realize was like how much time hating myself took up. Constantly thinking about like, you know, while I was at dinner with my family, right, I would be thinking about how my clothes didn't fit right, how I felt ugly, and how I felt fat, honestly. I wasn't able to like genuinely be present in the moment and just like enjoy the food and the company and like have fun. I know I was hurting, right? Really reflecting on how much time I spent doing that when I could have spent that time loving on people and being present and listening to them and being there for them. Like, I genuinely like kept myself at home so that I could avoid doing things so I wouldn't have to think about myself or wouldn't have to think about my body anymore, I guess. I don't know. I felt very selfish, I guess. Like, looking back in hindsight, I'm like, God, I spent so much time hating myself. Like, how unproductive. Like, I couldn't be present for people. I just feel like I'm able to be a better version of myself now. I feel like I am able to be there for people in a way that I wasn't before. My relationships with people are stronger. I am prioritizing going on trips and taking vacations, and it's just changed everything for me. It's not just about the body, about my mind and the capabilities that I feel now because I have done this. It has quite literally changed everything. And it's not the weight loss, it's taking care of myself and putting myself first so that I can also put others first, if that makes sense. Like, I no longer hate myself, I love myself, and I can give that love to others. So I do feel mentally changed, and it feels really big, and hopefully it doesn't feel too self-congratulatory, but also like it should. You need to congratulate yourself, because at the end of the day, not to be dark, like, you're the only person you have, so you gotta love yourself. How has your self-image and confidence changed and improved, and do you feel more critical of yourself than before? So my self-image and self-confidence is quite literally night and day. I love myself unconditionally. I know that if I gain weight, I will love myself. I know that if I lose weight, I will love myself. I know that if I put on a ton of muscle, I'll love myself. I know that if I get pregnant and put on a lot of weight, I'm gonna love myself. I know that I'm fully capable and strong and I can do hard things. And I don't feel more critical of myself than before. If anything, I wish that I had given myself even more grace. In my first video, I talk a lot about how I felt bad for, you know, the heavier version of myself. I didn't hate her, love her deeply. That is me. Like, I love that version of myself who was able to get me through hard times. Much less critical of that version of me now, and I much less critical of myself now as well, which is really, really cool. There's always going to be stuff that I want to change, or there's always going to be stuff that like I want to improve upon. Again, like, I want to get jacked. I don't know how many times I can say it, but I want to put muscle on, but I don't feel like I am not enough. That's it. I feel like I'm enough. Yeah, wow. I think that everybody deserves that. I want to say too, whatever you take from this video, I just really hope that it is that change is possible. You are capable of so much more than you know, and I want you to know that you can do it. To throw this in, it doesn't really fit here, but I need to throw this in. I got diagnosed with PCOS. And whenever I was trying to navigate the internet, it was really challenging to find helpful advice. I felt like I saw so many people say, if you have PCOS, you cannot lose weight. Don't even try. And if you are going to be successful at it, it's only going to be through a GLP-1 medication, or it's going to be through supplements. And I'm not saying either of those things are bad. In fact, I think GLP-1s fucking rock, but you can lose weight without those things. I did it, and you can do it too. I promise you. I promise you, you can. I just want you to take away from this that, like, no matter what you do, whether it is embarking on this journey of, you know, weight loss, or, you know, entering a new exercise routine or whatever, I just really hope that can get you closer to just fully and wholly loving yourself if you're not quite there yet, because the biggest freedom that I have found, you know, I used to take for granted the love that I had for myself when I was younger. It was something that was like effortless and it took no work, but then, you know, the world kind of breaks you down a little bit and it kind of shows you things and you kind of have to rebuild that confidence. But I pray. I'm not a religious person, but I pray that you can find love for yourself, whether it's through weight loss, or there's so many ways to achieve self-love. So thanks for watching this. I know that this was not quite as like scientific and in the weeds as the last video that I filmed. If you feel like there's anything missing and you want to get deeper into the weeds about PCOS and like why fiber is good or why exercise is good for you, please go watch my first video. All that information is so good and so like well thought out, not to like toot my own horn, but even better information over there. But I just wanted to like put a nice bow on my journey for you and answer any questions that you had. So if there are any lingering questions that I didn't answer here or in that first video, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. If you follow me on Instagram, DM me. I'll try to do my best to answer those questions there too. I'm going to continue to share more about my fitness journey here, but again, it's not going to be really weight loss focused. I'm just trying to build that sexy muscle and show you kind of what I'm eating, because bitch likes to eat. Thanks so much for watching this. Thank you for being an encouragement to me when I have shared this journey. Everybody has been so kind, and it's been really cool to be in community with all of you. So I feel so much. Thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.